Hello, everyone. My name is Larry Smith III, and this is my documentary. And what I want to do with this documentary is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Is take people inside my personal life, where it gives them a sense of more like a lens where they understand the detriments where I come from, as far as being diagnosed with schizophrenia for the last 17 years. Uh, I'm an author of 4 books, and my life actually, my story actually took place in a small town called Fort Hood, Texas, in 2004. And I lived there for quite some time. And long story short is that I got into a bit of a situation where I went out one night and went, by myself to a club, and I got introduced to a drug, to the drug ecstasy, and I went out looking for it, and that's pretty much where my life, took a turn for the worse. Um, I only tried it. I tried it like twice, but the second time is when I knew something wasn't right because I didn't get, the effects that everybody else said they got from it. So and that's when, everything felt different as far as mentally, and that's when I became, as the doctors would say, chemically imbalanced. And this actually affected me for the rest of my life because I have to take medication every single day I wake up. And that's why I'm taking people inside of my personal life and showing them, like, that I actually author and write books under these conditions. Many people think that when they meet me that I'm an author, they think that nothing is wrong. And I'm living behind a mask because I have to portray like as if nothing is wrong. But truthfully, you know, uh, truthfully, I have to, take these meds every day for the rest of my life. I make sure that I do that, and so that way I can function under the way that I should. You know what I'm saying? So this documentary is more so about. It is also, I dedicated to those who suffer in silence around the world, who suffer from mental health conditions and feel like they're ashamed to talk about it, or feel like they're, less than, but the so-called normal world because of what they have and what they're going through. And that's where I'm coming from with this documentary.
Science reports tonight on a new and powerful illegal drug being trafficked on the nation's campuses. Some users call it a touch of ecstasy. Some researchers call it flirting with brain damage.
This part of my life is where I start to explain basically what took place after I left Fort Hood, Texas, for an entire year of my life that I cannot get back. And during that time, I actually tried to commit suicide. There was a time, when I was, at a hospital, and my parents, they were the whole time they were trying to regain my focus and get me back to normal, but they called a priest into the hospital room, and the priest actually performed an exorcism on me. And it's weird till I think about it today because I actually reacted just as the little girl in the movie The Exorcism, and I wish you could see it because I don't really say anything that is not true. I try not to do that, because I want to be transparent with you and what really happened to my life back then, around 2004. And another time during this time is when, after all of that, I actually felt I started building a connection with God a lot. I could say, God, I built a connection with God because I didn't have nowhere else to turn to. You know what I'm saying? And as I started building this connection with God, I started to regain my focus and my mentality. As you know, I was chemically imbalanced for an entire year. I didn't socialize with friends or family. I stayed in my room the entire time. And when I did go out, it was just to get something to eat and come back. And I secluded myself. And but as I regained my focus with God, I started to, let my parents know that I was feeling a little better. But the whole entire time, I was actually planning to take a trip somewhere. I just wanted to get away from everything because nothing felt the same. Nothing felt the same. The atmosphere was different. Socializing was different. Paranoid. And, when I was planning to leave, I had to think of a way. I had to think of somewhere I could go that would actually give me my life back, and also, regain my focus. So I said, I'll go to Las Vegas, and that's what I did. I actually planned to go to Las Vegas. I bought my ticket online, but I did this when no one was in my home, because during those times when my parents would leave, I felt like however anybody feel, spiritually or not, this is what my personal belief is, that I felt like Satan, the devil, Shaitan, I felt like he was whispering to me every time my parents left the home and making me feel guilty about how I felt, how I was. So he was basically making me feel like I should, hurt myself. You know what I'm saying? And this is the reality, and this is the thing, the mask that I have to approach. You know what I'm saying? And so after, I got past the fear, of the whispers and stuff like that from the devil, I felt like, it was time for me to leave and go somewhere else and start at a new place. So that's when I left and went to Las Vegas. And during that time, one morning, my mom would usually wake up and bring me breakfast and stuff. But, during that morning, she knocked on my door and I wasn't there. I was already gone. I crawled through the window at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I went across the street to catch a cab, and I took the cab to the Greyhound bus station. And that's when during this time, just keep in mind that during this time, I was, half of me was there and half of me wasn't mentally. So that's why, it's something that I felt that needed to be talked about and explored with the world, that people should know this, because I know there's someone out there in the world that is actually probably in their room, and this is the reality. They're somewhere locked away in their room or in jail or in prison, and they're in this thing, that probably that same state of mind that I was in, and they do not know how to cope with that. So hopefully someone can show them this documentary and tell them that there is life, after, so much heartache and pain. We're out here on Wood Forest, and I came to this location so you can actually get an idea of where things took place during my life in 2004. All right, so follow me. This area here, we'll start over here. This is the apartment complex in 2004, where as many of you know of me, and as you know of me, the place where I actually took ecstasy, and I experimented with it, as a drug, and it was very devastating in my life. So this area is where I want to show everyone where I was living, during the time, and I didn't really associate with friends or family like that. I was closed off to the world. This area here, after one night, before I went to Las Vegas, I left out of as in my book I stated, I left and crawled out of the window at 5 in the morning, and this is where I came in this area to actually get in the cab. I caught a cab in this right here where we at right now.
It's instant love. It's like being on a cloud. It's indescribable. You have to be there. It's really ecstasy.
This is, where I pick up, where, I went to the Greyhound station, and I caught a bus to Las Vegas. I remember vividly. I remember vividly as I'm smiling because it was happy moments. I was leaving. I was getting away from everything. I didn't have to be in fear of what people would think of me because I was looking like this. You know what I'm saying? And as I was on the bus, I just, as I was going into, I remember vividly making it into Vegas. And I was asleep. I had fell asleep. And when I woke up, all I saw was the sun, the image of the sun. And I saw a big pyramid. I believe it was the Luxor in Las Vegas. And someone said, "Is this your stop?" They woke me up, and I said, "Man, and instantly when I saw that, I felt like I was healed. I felt like God renewed my mind. It's like it felt like everything that I did is what God aligned me to do for my purpose. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once that happened, I got off the bus and I had my bags in both hands, and I was walking. And when I made it through, I believe it was it was the downtown Fremont Street in Las Vegas. I remember I let my bags down and I looked up at the sky and I saw, the screens and the movies showing how they have in Fremont, downtown Las Vegas. And man, I don't know, it just felt like I was normal again. You know what I'm saying? I don't like using the word normal, but I felt like I was normal again. And I feel like all my sadness was gone. And I felt like, I was ready to I was reliving the moment of being, a normal human being again. You know what I'm saying? Because I was born, normal. You know what I'm saying? But as things happened when I took ecstasy, it changed the chemistry in my brain. And that's when when I got to Vegas, and a lot took place in Vegas that what I'm saying, and a lot took place there that was good moments for me and sad moments for me. But when I got there, I even met someone that we had a real good relationship. Things didn't really go as planned, but it was cool, man, because I feel like God sent her to me. We had good times together, and we had fun, and that time ended. But I ended up meeting another friend, and I ended up getting a job at a slot machine. I ended up getting a job building slot machines at a place called Bally's. And the guy I stayed with, he was from Germany, and he said, "You can stay with me, man. Just pay me something for rent and whatever you keep to yourself." So, but yeah, those are the times I remember in Las Vegas, man. I had good times there, and I feel like, I know it's a city of sin, that's what they say, which it is, but I do feel like, it is a place, what I'm saying, that actually, it is a place that can actually set the stage for starting over in life if you are not just a real big gambler or whatnot. But it was a cool place, man. It was the desert, and I liked it all of that. I would walk the streets every day, and I would go have fun. I would drink. This was the time when I was drinking because back then, this was before I was a Muslim, and 8 years ago I converted to Islam. And I can honestly say, without anybody having any force to make me say anything, as opposed to what media convinces people, I feel like it was the best decision ever to convert to Islam, because it's like when I converted, I started to see the things that were unclean in my life that God showed me that I wanted to do, but I really, between me and not anyone else, between me and God, that I shouldn't be doing. And I just feel like it was, accepting Islam was the best thing in my life, and that's when my life changed. You know what I'm saying? I still struggle with certain things today, but for the most part, I'm a much different person as opposed to back then. Now we're here at the third location, which is the Greyhound bus station, to where I took the following night that I left the apartment complex that we were just at. This is the Greyhound. This is what I took. I took a bus to Las Vegas, and like I said, I did that around about 5 in the morning, and I did that as a way of getting away from everything that shut me down, as far as like not talking to anybody anymore, and really just on the concept of not knowing who I really am, who I really was anymore. So that's why I came here, and I actually took a bus to Las Vegas just to get away from everything that was around me that was here in Houston. You know what I'm saying? There were times where I was actually down here and slept on benches, you know, in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? Not aware of what was going on or who I was. I had a somewhat of a 5% idea of what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like I said, I just wanted to, throughout this documentary, I want to take you all into a scope, a lens of, you know, how my life has been, and also, you know what I'm saying, the conditions that I work under, as far as like, you know, being diagnosed with schizophrenia for the last 17 years. I want people to, those who suffer from, not just suffer from mental illnesses, but, you know, those, I want them to understand that, you know, just to see my life and see that what I've done, like over the past 12 years, and written and published 4 books, and just to see, you know, that they can do it too, as if I could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like people like myself, we need a person that is actually doing that, because the world is so fast-paced, you know, with the so-called normal, everything is fast-paced, you know, working, going to school, and this and that. You know, sometimes you don't feel like you have a place in life if you have a condition, like a medical illness. So I want to give people that lens and open the scope and let them see, you know, exactly how I did it. All right, man, so this is the part of my life, where, you know, things actually started to make sense. And it's gonna sound like an oxymoron, because this is when I started, you know, going in and out of mental hospitals, you know what I'm saying? And this is where the part of my life where I had to physically and mentally understand that I'm not just being put away because I'm crazy. I'm being put away because this is a part of my life where God is trying to help me find myself, and also help me deal with the issues of being diagnosed as a schizophrenic. You know what I'm saying? So as time progressed, you know, more and more, as I started building up and going back to the hospitals, I went from being, you know, forced into the hospitals because I was unwillingly going, you know what I'm saying? And I had been taken there. But this part of my life is where there was a part where I actually started to just admit myself, you know. And I tend to make people laugh, because when they tell people, they say, man, how was it like in there? I said, man, you know, I was on vacation. And they think, what? And I'm like, look, this is a place where I go to get away from everything out in the world. And I go and get to be with people that understand me. You know what I'm saying? They understand where I'm coming from. They know me very well. And, you know, but man, it's just so much. I won't be able to get it all in this section right here about, you know, going to, you know, those hospitals, the mental hospital, because, you know, the things that took place there is irrelevant. What's relevant is that I learned to find myself within those moments, and now I know how to cope, and I can actually sit with mothers and daughters and, you know, sons, and I can tell them and I can show these mothers and I can show these mothers how to deal with their children who suffer from, you know, schizophrenia and mental health issues and stuff like that. Okay, so we're here at the second location, and I just wanted to make sure I get this location, because this is the actual psychiatric hospital, to where a lot of the pitfalls happened because of me taking ecstasy, you know, a few years back. And but yeah, like I say, I've actually been to this location I've been here over 22 times and throughout the 17 years of my life, and it's not pretty. People when they see it, they're immediately afraid, but it doesn't really. I'm used to it. You know what I'm saying? And like coming here is like, I actually, when it's time for me to go, I admit myself here because hopefully people watching this will help them to understand like it's better to admit yourself if something is wrong versus them having to take you in, because you got to understand you're going here to get help. You're not coming here for them to do anything wrong to you. You know what I'm saying? So that is the one of the most important things that that I wanted to discuss in this documentary. And see what else. I've taken, like I said, I've been there, the Harris County Psychiatric Center. I've been there at least over 22 times, you know what I'm saying? And when people, I don't really, I don't have an issue with being transparent about where I've been in my life, because I feel like the things that you don't talk about, I feel like those that is what the world is going to use against you. So I get that out of the way so that way I don't have to worry about there be any holes in my story, you know what I'm saying, in my personality. But I feel like being admitted into these places, I feel like this is the design of God. This is the design that was meant for me to happen to me, because I feel like everybody's life was is laid out and designed by God before they were born. That's just my personal belief, and so everything that happens to you, whether you like it, good or bad, is going to happen regardless. And that may be just my opinion as opposed to everyone else, but that's just what I feel. And as far as that, I had to also deal with learning to slow down with drinking alcohol, because the thing is that many people drink alcohol while they take their medicine, but it's really truthfully not a good thing. And I'm not just saying that to be vague or anything like that, but it is something that I had to learn, that it just doesn't balance well. It just doesn't balance well, and I also don't want to leave out the fact that if you are, suffering from mental, issue and health issues, is that you should really, take. Don't listen to me, please. Continue to take your medicine. But if there is a person out there who is licensed professional herbalist, naturopathic doctor, then you listen to that person, let them coach you, because they're going to tell you not to just stop taking. They're not going to tell you to just stop taking your medicine. But one thing I do believe is that you should just keep taking it. You know what I'm saying? And and let the scales weigh out each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's just that. And but like I say, this part of my life is just where it was lessons. And um, I in 2010, about 5 years after I left Vegas, I wrote my first book called "Smiling Through the Pain." And "Smiling Through the Pain" is on Amazon, and that's where I put a lot of my what I was going through at the time, during that time in 2010, which was a 2 year depression, of taking medicine and trying to balance out, and dealing with negativity about, because a lot of people, when you're diagnosed with something, a lot of people, especially schizophrenia, a lot of people feel like, yeah, he said he's gonna do this, but I don't know if he's really gonna do that, because some people, not all people, that we have that judgmental, that we have that judgmental lens where we feel like we believe it if we see it, and that's okay. But you shouldn't do that with everything when it comes to human beings, because you just never know. And that's why I like to talk about the fact that I've written books like "Smiling Through the Pain," and my second book, years later, was "The Other Side of Ecstasy," which is what is the basis of what this whole my life story is about. And it's also on Amazon. And also I wrote, 2 years after that, I wrote a book. It's a self-help book called "The Power of Achievement." And I have to say that is my best work. "The Power of Achievement" is my best work. And you know And my last book, my most recent book, is called Black Gold Down Under. And that with that book is when I actually learned how to tell and create stories. I went from writing poetry in 2010 to today, 2021. I mean 2022. Well, 2021, I wrote Black Gold Down Under and published it, and that's when I learned that, hey man, I can tell stories now. There's a fiction story, and and right now, about a year ago, I enrolled into, the Houston Community College, and I started taking English courses. My goal is to get my master's so I can start teaching on the college level, and then go into a PhD where I can actually, teach at a university. But university it's not a big deal. My thing is I love teaching amateur writers how to write a book, and I have a writing coach program where I'm literally going above and beyond with the price to help you, you know pay the money where you can learn how to write your book. Because when I first wrote my first book, it was more than just a story. It was more than just poems. It's when God showed me the vision that I'm gonna break a curse of poverty in my family. I'm gonna break a lot of I'm gonna be able to set the stage for the family, the wife and children that I have, and being able to leave copyrights in their name and stuff like that. So it's really, and I talk about that a lot in my book, The Power of Achievement, because that book is basically sums up anything that you do in this life. If you don't love doing it, you're not going to authentically do it like you mean it, because that is what your purpose is, to do things that you love to do in this life. And I teach that not only can you do what you love doing, but you can get paid for it. It can be, you can turn it into a career. That's what I did with writing. I turned my hobbies into a career, and that's what I want to discuss at this point at this documentary.